Hey YouTube, Bob here. Welcome to the next edition of my Nintendo Unboxed playlist. And in this one we're going to take a look at an individual game here, which is Super Mario Brothers. This one was voted as the favorite one to start with in a recent poll on my channel, so I thought we would start with the original. And speaking of original, we're not going to unbox this one. We're going to unbox my original copy of the game that I got as a pack-in with my Nintendo Entertainment System for my 8th birthday in 1987. And looking at this game, yeah, it certainly does look like it was in the care of an 8-year-old for a while. Got some tape here. The hang tab is totally torn off. Definitely battered and torn and taped up again here on the bottom. This is definitely not the way I like to take care of my things nowadays, but hey, I was 8 years old at the time. And it looks like I even wrote my name here in the blue brick there. I don't know if you can see that, but it kind of says Bob right there, which is strange because I wasn't going by Bob. My parents called me Bobby at that age. But I am very happy to have my original copy of the game, even if it is not in the best condition anymore. It actually gives me an opportunity to talk a little bit about some of the variations we saw in early NES game packaging. Some of you may know that when the NES was in its test market phase in New York in 1985, the games were not sealed with plastic wrap. They actually had the hang tab on the back that was all cardboard. You can see where it would have been. And since they weren't sealed with plastic, there was a little circular sticker right here over the top flap that you would open up, and it just said Nintendo on the top. So really simple. They hadn't really gone into full-on production yet, I think, given that the games were still in the test market phase. But something that you'll notice with some of the earlier games, and maybe some of you who are more experts in this than I am, I would think that just given the fact that I got this in 1987 and it has a hang tab, that it would also sport the REVA code that is usually printed right here on some of the later games. And what I think that means is Revision A. And I'm not sure if that pertains to the packaging, the cartridge itself, or whatever the case may be, but I noticed that this particular copy of the game that I got doesn't have REVA, which would suggest that it's newer, but it has a hang tab, which suggests that it's older, but it doesn't have the seal on top here, which suggests that, well, either it's because it was a pack-in version or because it was in some sort of transitional phase between the newer packaging and the older packaging. I can't be sure. But we're going to see another variation here once we get to the cartridge itself. But let's take a look at the back. And just so it looks a little bit nicer on screen, I'll use this newer copy that I picked up. Just the box, though. You can see it's one of the newer boxes, even though it still doesn't say REVA right here. And it does not have the hang tab anymore. But Super Mario Brothers says, do you have what it takes to save the Mushroom Princess? Not Princess Toadstool yet, not Princess Peach yet, Mushroom Princess. You'll have to think fast and move even faster to complete this quest. The Mushroom Princess is being held captive by the evil Koopa tribe of turtles. It's up to you to rescue her from the clutches of the Koopa King before time runs out. But it won't be easy. To get to the princess, you'll have to climb mountains, cross seas, avoid bottomless pits, fight off turtle soldiers, and a host of black magic traps that only a Koopa King can devise. It's another non-stop adventure from the Super Mario Brothers, which this is the first one in the Super Mario Brothers series. Maybe they were kind of referring to the Mario Brothers arcade game. But here you can see some screenshots, and back then they kind of made that the shape of an old CRT TV with those rounded edges there. But that is the intro to Super Mario Brothers. We got the side here, got the title, a little bit of information about the warranty, and then the Nintendo Entertainment System branding there. So let's get this game open and see what we have. I'll be using my original pack-in copy from my NES console. These games you're going to find as a standard issue. They did come in a little bit of a protective bag here with a trademark circle cut out of the plastic. And then at the bottom here, you'll notice that the size of the box doesn't match the size of the cartridge. I think just so they had a little bit more real estate for printing for printing some of the visuals and the text. So to fill that void is a little styrofoam block. I always wonder how many millions of these little styrofoam blocks there are in the world, thanks to Nintendo trying to prop up the game cartridge in the box. But here we've got the little package of the cartridge and some of the literature that came with it. Typically with these older black box Nintendo games, and that's a term that refers to this design motif where they've got the black starry field in the background. That was Nintendo's first graphic design motif. So these black box games usually come with a poster, and then they'll come with the Nintendo Power or Nintendo Fun Club newsletter subscription, depending on how old the game is, and the game itself, and a protective dust cover. And then depending on what the game is, sometimes there were some maps or other hints too. We'll see that with some of the later games that I do. But this is still all original to my my copy here that I got. This one is for, yeah, the very first issue of Nintendo Power. The new Players Magazine with enough tips, tricks, and insider secrets to send your scores into the stratosphere. So learn how to play faster, smarter. And then, yeah, you had to send away for it by mail, or you could call in the number. No internet subscription here. So there's our Nintendo Power subscription flyer. We'll take a look at the poster. Always got ROB, Robotic Operating Buddy here. Open it up. There his full face is. And there's usually two versions of this poster, depending on how old it is. Let's see which one this one is. This is one of the older ones. This one says the Nintendo Game Plan. Newer versions will say, now you're playing with power up at the top. That was the slogan that Nintendo had adopted. And this older version is missing games like The Legend of Zelda and Metroid and Kid Icarus. Those games would be added to this poster later on. But this is one of the earlier versions. So that's interesting. Got an earlier version of the poster, but a later version of the Nintendo Power subscription. It's not the Nintendo Fun Club newsletter, it's Nintendo Power. And we also have in this copy of the game, I'll kind of skip to that before we get to the manual, we have a newer copy of the game. And like I said, this was my original pack-in copy, and I've always thought it was interesting, well, not always, I learned about these things later on, that I think this is a newer version of the cartridge because it has the two plastic clips on the front here and 3 screws to hold it together, versus an older copy of the cartridge, which I have here. This is what's known as a 5-screw version because, well, it has 5 screws holding it together. And on the front here, you can see that there are no plastic clips. So I think once Nintendo realized how many of these cartridges they were going to have to manufacture, that they decided they could cut a little bit of their production costs by eliminating these 2 screws and having the front part of the cartridge kind of hinge together with clips. But I bring this up only because this is a newer version of the cartridge with the clips, with kind of an older version of the box with the hang tab, but it's still not sealed with the sticker, and it doesn't say REVA, so I don't really know. It seems like maybe this was like a transition period where Nintendo was just, you know, mixing new cartridges with old boxes and just going through all their stock. Or maybe it's none of that and I'm just thinking about it too much. That's probably what it is. But if we take a look at the cartridge, this is my original one, like I said. This is a 3-screw version with the 2 clips, and then on the back it just gives some care instructions here, as usual. So really what we have left to take a look at is the instruction manual, which for these early black box games, they're pretty simple. They stick with that starry field motif there. Very simplistic, nothing really on the back except for more of that star field. And I can remember that my dad would not let me play this game until I read this manual from cover to cover. So that's what I did. And thankfully, it does have lots of, well, I guess they're illustrations. Certainly not full color at this point. You're going to notice a lot of monochromatic pixel art here in these older manuals. But we do have the official Nintendo seal of quality here, or at this point it was called, this seal is your assurance. So it's the official Nintendo Nintendo seal of assurance that they have somehow approved the quality of the game here, which now we know it just means that the third-party licensee companies paid their fees to Nintendo. But some games that bear this symbol, this game included, they are definitely of that quality that they claim right here. So, object of the game and game description. So let's see here. Yeah, this is a little bit more backstory. One day, the kingdom of the peaceful mushroom people was invaded by the Koopa, a tribe of turtles famous for their black magic. The quiet, peace-loving mushroom people were turned into mere stones, bricks, and even field horsehair plants, and the mushroom kingdom fell into ruin. The only one who can undo the magic spell on the mushroom people and return them to their normal selves is the Princess Toadstool, the daughter of the Mushroom King, who does not really make an appearance in this game. Unfortunately, she is presently in the hands of the great Koopa Turtle King. Mario, the hero of the story, maybe, depends on how well you play, hears about the Mushroom People's plight and sets out on a quest to free the Mushroom Princess from the evil Koopa and restore the fallen kingdom of the Mushroom People. You are Mario. It's up to you to save the Mushroom People from the black magic of the Koopa. So please refer to this instruction booklet to ensure proper handling of your new game, and then save it for future reference. Copyright 1985 Nintendo. So got some instructions about how to use this new controller. I remember, oh, this controller seems so intimidating to me with that. I called it at the time a cross key right here, which we call now a D-pad, and then the two action buttons, B and A. So they tell you how to, what the basic commands are for the controller, and then how to get past the title screen here. Got some black and white screenshots. How to play, got a little bit of some diagrams here about how the stages, each world is broken up into 4 different sections. So we've got World 1-1, World 1-2, World 1-3, and then World 1-4. Gives you a little bit of an instruction here with some mystery, about how you can score. I'm not sure if it mentions anything about the fireworks. At the end of each area there's a small castle, but before you get to the castle you have to go up a big staircase and jump onto the flagpole. The higher you jump onto the flagpole, the higher the bonus you receive. So yeah, it doesn't really say anything about the fireworks, although they do picture the firework there. We'll have to see at the end of the manual if there's any sort of allusion to the fireworks. But they tell you, starting position and time progress, how the clock advances, how this is going to be a side scroller. As this game proceeds, the screen gradually advances to the right. As that's phrased, it kind of makes it sound like it's an auto scroll, but it's not, as we know. It goes with you. So I got some pointers here. Did I skip a page? It felt like I did. Nope, I didn't. Pointers. Got jumping. Tells you bonus prizes. What happens if you pick up the coin, the 1-up mushroom, and hit the block. Mario, Super Mario, Invincible Mario, tells you your different phases you'll go through if you get the different power-ups there. How to topple the Turtle Tribe, talking about ricochets and kicking the Koopa shells. And then we go into the bestiary here. I really like these panels here that kind of give you the description of the baddies and how many points that they're worth. Beware, the following are deadly. Bumping into members of the Turtle Tribe and other baddies, walking into flames. When you bump into a Koopa shell, wow, Nintendo's been doing that since way back, you had once kicked. That'll happen. However, Super Mario turns into regular Mario and the game continues at that spot. So that happens if you hit the turtle shell. When you fall into a pit or get sucked down a drain, which would happen in a water stage, and time runs out, that is also deadly. So the bestiary continues here. We got the Koopa Troopa red, Koopa Troopa green, and then the Paratroopas. Buzzy Beetle and the dreaded Hammer Brothers, one of the most difficult obstacles in this game. Spiny, Lakitu, and the Piranha Plants. Yeah, 1,000 points for the Hammer Brothers. That's what they should be worth. And then some of the Other enemies here, and then Bowser, King of the Koopa. The Sorcerer King holding Princess Toadstool captive in the last castle. He comes at you spitting fire. There are several ways to kill him, but you only get points if you use fireballs, and it will not tell you how many points. So that's what I thought. I thought I remembered this. Super Mario Brothers Secret Tricks. Shh, don't tell anyone. And then again, I mentioned this in a previous video. A lot of the art had not yet been standardized. So even in the instruction manual here, it's a lot more noticeable in a lot of the merchandise. But just the way things look, like this Koopa here, just doesn't follow a common aesthetic yet. So there's a little bit of charm to that. So bulldozer attack. Kick one of the shells and then run right behind it. Use the B button. And your path will be cleared for you as your enemies are sent flying. Yeah, that's one of the most fun things to do in this game. Just look out for ricochets. If the shell runs into a pipe, your attack will backfire, and you'd better move fast to keep from getting swept off yourself. If you want to get a lot of points, be sure not to leave any enemies alive behind you, since more enemies you kill, the more new ones appear. Especially when using the bulldozer attack, make sure all the enemies on the screen are wiped out before continuing on to the right. Because the screen moves from left to right, there are enemies off the edge of the screen that can't be seen. You can kill enemies you can't see by sending a shell off the screen after them. Why not? Maybe they jump over the enemy when Mario isn't looking. Strangely enough, however, if a kicked shell bumps into a pipe off the screen, it comes ricocheting back at Mario. If you hear the sound of a ricochet, yeah, that dunk sound, jump right away so you'll be ready when it comes flying back onto the screen. When a shell comes ricocheting back at you, it's possible, for a real pro that is, to stomp on the turtle one more time and to stop it. There are plenty of other tricks. See if you can discover them on your own. And then they go on to discuss the chain reaction technique. Use the old domino effect. Ask your parents. Wow, this is a lot funnier than I remember. To wipe out a bunch of bad guys one after the other to get high points. Each coin you grab is worth 200 points. If you collect 100, besides the points for the coins, you'll also get an extra Mario. Without a doubt, a lot of coins are tucked away somewhere. Why do you suppose this is under chain reaction techniques? Ah, interesting. A little bit of a hint there. And then top secret, you get 50 points for each break you smash. Try punching lots of different places. There are several different ways to get an extra Mario. Try to figure them out for yourself. It's really helpful here, right? At the end of the area, after you jump onto the flagpole, here's the fireworks. Fireworks may go off, and for each explosion you get 500 points. The reason for the fireworks go off is a secret. See if you can figure it out. And as we know, it's all tied to the clock, your timer for the game. Then just FCC regulations here. Got a blank memo page, which a lot of the games did if there were some tag or extra pages at the end there. Some people wrote codes if the game had codes or passwords. And then just the 90-day limited warranty. So that is Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Like I said, very happy to have my original copy of this, even though it's in very, very poor condition. This is mine, and I love it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm looking forward to adding more to this Unboxed playlist. We're going to take a look at some individual games. Until then, take care, and you'll be hearing from me in the next one. See you later.